want to talk about life, I want to talk about health. Time to talk about obtaining generational wealth. Yeah, I'm on the grind, success is on my mind. I gotta do it now because there's no better time. It doesn't matter what you really been facing. Keep the faith in all your dreams you've been chasing. Because of her, you have your number one supporter. Stop what you're doing and tune into Juice's Corner.
Welcome back. It's your boy Sensei Trey, and as you can see, the animated character next to me is Mr. Iceberg.
I like that. Glad to be here.
Stop the cap.
Ain't no cap. You see the outfit?
No cap.
Yeah. But we brought him on to get a very fresh perspective on things. He's normally behind the cameras and helping with the audio. But yeah, we're gonna hear what he's got to say about this next topic. So the section that we're going into is our rumors, and we have a very juicy topic for you. So definitely make sure you comment. Let us know what your thoughts are as well. So, rumors, child support for the mother.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Let's
talk about it. Since I'm the only female on here, I think I'm going to start it out first, okay? Rumors, child support for the mother. No.
Seconded.
Third.
And before we get into details, let's drop this little video.
Here's the memory we're getting ready to make because I made my ruling. You have capped out, according to Texas guidelines, your gross is $9,200 a month. Child support is set at $2,300. You're going to do a reimbursement to Medicaid for $276, making your monthly child support payment $2,576.
That's how much you gotta pay.
No, that's how much you gotta pay.
Oops.
Thank you.
Look at her face.
I don't see the celebration.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Priceless.
What happened to the celebration? Because you're the one that's paying that $2,576.
Well,
the children live with him. He should not pay you anything.
Thank you.
And I said I made my ruling, so I really don't have to hear anything further. Did you have any questions about that number?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Her whole demeanor changed.
Man. So what y'all got to say about that?
Tables have turned.
Yes, they have.
And being a woman, I'm trying to get my thoughts. Because to me, I feel like you shouldn't have to make anybody pay to take care of their children. And then you shouldn't have to run down and get people in your business because you're better as a woman. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times when child support come about, it's not even about the child.
Yep.
It's about the mom who's caught up in her feelings. My oldest son is in his 30s. Child support, I don't even think I ever got. Probably $600. He's in his 30s. I even remember going to the court and saying, listen, I just want him to give up his rights. I'm tired of coming down here wasting my gas. And he gonna do the same thing. I told y'all I didn't want this, but the judge, you was adamant about you not the only one who made this child. I came here to ask to give up his rights, and y'all put child support out on him. I didn't want him because he gonna do what he want to do. You know, I'm good. I'm good. You know, I'm good as a mother. They're not gonna want for anything because I had a good support system, everything. But I just don't feel like a man should be on child support because men still have to live. I get it. It's some men out there who don't take care of their kids, but you don't have to get the system involved. Because at the end of the day, when them kids get old enough, that man gonna have to explain to them kids why he wasn't in their life, why he didn't do what he needed to do. Because then it's a pattern. Your child grow up seeing what mom does, and then she think that's okay to do the same thing. Yep. But it's okay if it's intended for the right thing, taking care of that child, not mom.
Yeah.
You know, I see it all the time. Women looking good, children hair nappy, holes in their shoes.
Crazy.
You got about 5 or 6 baby daddies. You getting paid good.
Yep.
But then I'm taking care of your kids through my foundation. Let it make sense to me.
Don't make no sense.
So it's about the kids or it's about you being better? About you trying to control that man?
Yeah.
So should mothers child support for the mother? No. It say child support, not mother support. So I'm gonna get off of it because I'm gonna get my thoughts together because I'm gonna really make some mothers mad out here. I'm gonna let y'all have a talk for about a minute. Let me get on my scissors, okay?
Oh man, hey, look, child support is definitely for the kids. The mothers that try to eat off of it and create this lifestyle that is not really for them, man, get them kids what they need. And for the ones that, for the men who actually don't take care of their kids, I mean, I get it. But at the end of the day, you're just chasing somebody who don't want to do it. At the end of the day.
That part.
And for the ones who are on it and take care of their kids, hey, man, look, from experience, just do what you got to do, man. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. The system is set up to be like that. And it's sad because it's good men out here. I mean, like I said, I can only speak for myself. You ain't even got to question it. My kids come before everything. As far as the situations that I've had to go through, it is what it is. What you got to say over there, Shawn? What's
I
your
know you
perspective?
think about having a couple little rugrats. So.
Yeah.
Nah, maybe like one.
Do
when
an
I'm like
application
45,
first.
you know.
Yes.
Do an
Something like
application
that.
first.
Yes.
My
Kid
thing is
application.
this. When it comes to child support, I feel like they need a better way of documenting these things, right? So if somebody is receiving child support, they should be required to save the receipts. They should be required to keep like documentation of the funding that is spent. If anything, it should be put on a card, and there should be certain things that cannot be approved with the card, right? So that we can ensure that the money is actually going towards the child. I think the problem is that we have a system where there's no accountability. So when you give that mother the child support money, you don't know what she's doing with it.
So people are asking me questions like this, like, why didn't I buy my daughter gifts with the money that I get from child support for her? And the answer is simply this. That child support money is not for my kids, it's for myself. That money is simply made for me to use on myself and make sure that I have everything that I need. If I'm not happy, if I don't have what I need, I cannot be the best version of myself. So I splurge with the child support money. Plus, I had new toys laying around because my daughter, I'll buy her things and then she doesn't play with it or like she forgets about them and then like they're still brand new. So I don't see nothing wrong with me just wrapping them and giving to her again. Child support is not meant to be spent on the child. It's meant to be spent on the person who provides for them, who takes care of them. And that's me.
And that's a problem because y'all care so much about making the parent who is supposedly not in the picture, right? Y'all care so much about making that parent pay their part, but you don't care about making sure and ensuring that that part is going to the child. Mm-hmm. So how can you want one half of that, but then not the other half to ensure that the child is being taken care of? You need to create a system in which these funds can be recorded, documented, given to the court system once a month or at the end of the year, or however you want to do it, and make sure that the money is actually being spent on the child, because I've seen way too many women that spend it on their hair weave. It's like they get the child support money and they say stuff like, oh, well, I spent my money on the child last week, so this is just making up for the money I spent. No, it don't work like that. Man. That's cap. We know you lying. You spent $100 on that child, but your hairstyle costs $350. Mm-hmm. So there's a portion of that money that's missing.
Let it make sense.
So I don't want to hear that crap. That's just a bunch of BS.
Mathing.
So the math ain't mathing, and we need to find a way to document this to make sure that the child is being taken care of.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because the way they doing it now.
I also want to say, if the father is getting 50% of the child, like 50% of the time, then nobody should be receiving child support. If we're splitting the time, if you get 3.5 days and I get 3.5 days, I don't see the reason why anybody would be getting paid. Because if I have the child with me and they're taken care of, and you have the child with you and they're taken care of, and the time is split equally, nobody needs child support. So I met some guys that have their kids half the time and they still are paying child support. That's crazy to me. That doesn't make any sense.
Why do we pay child support in a 50-50 custody? Just curious on this. I personally think it makes no sense, and it's a perfect example that the system is rigged to screw over the more mature parent. Can anyone explain this to me? Sure, I can. It's not necessarily about maturity. It's about income and the resources for the child or children that you have. So when there's a 50-50 custody, typically if there's still a child support order in place, is because one parent is out earning the other, and we want both households to have the same access. So just think, the court is looking pretty much, and if you read the child support statute, what would this child or children enjoy had the family still been intact. And they would enjoy both parties' income if the household is intact, which means when we talk about 50-50 custody, if you earn 70% of the income and the other person just owns 30% of that combined income, you have more of the resources at your house than they do. It's different for each scenario, but I'm assuming in your scenario, why you're still paying 50-50 is because you out-earn the other parent. They have the capacities to make more money if they've historically made more money. If you feel like they're not working to their full capacity, i.e. they have a bachelor's degree or a master's or something like that, but they're working an hourly wage, you can also ask the court to impute a wage onto them that if they were using their degrees, right, or maybe there would be no child support. It's not about maturity, because there's people who are 19 and 20 years old that probably make more money than me.
It's the way society's set up, man.
It is. And you know what? It's I was going to chime in on what you initially were talking about, but the last thing you said is actually something I was thinking about while I was sitting here listening, because I don't have any kids. Obviously, you know, I have nieces, nephews, but I've also, like, I grew up with my mom. You know what I'm saying? Dad wasn't in the picture for various reasons at this point I know about, you know. But to your point, like, the way that the system is set up when it comes down to child support is very... So I guess the best way I'm going to explain it is they don't have a real way of truly determining like what makes sense as far as financially. So you have on one end of the spectrum, obviously, you know, you got people who don't make a lot of money and stuff like that. And like you said, it may be a situation where we're splitting time, but I'm still paying this money. Or, hey, this is my job. I only make $14 an hour, but you asked me for like half of my money or more or whatever it is, right?
To pay bills.
Yeah.
80%.
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you got people like, let's just say somebody who happens to be famous, right? And you got them paying like some stupid amount, like $18,000 a month. Who needs $18,000 a month to take care of a child? That makes no sense.
And the women saying that's still not a lot of money.
It's based off the lifestyle that he got.
Yeah.
They want him to provide for
And
her
it should
and that
also
kid.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, finish.
I was just saying they need to come up with a fair system when it comes down to really like determining, okay, what truly is the amount that you need to be able to take care of a human being that is a child.
Mm-hmm.
And then go off of that, not off of just how much do you make.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy.
Well, I'm going to say this. Women, go ahead and not like me. Okay. After this. What I don't like about child support is that I've seen it a lot because I do a lot in the community and I talk to a lot of people. But even growing up, seeing people's situations, even with me having kids and being around other women who have kids, child support, it becomes a joke sometimes. And what I mean by a joke sometimes, it's not even about the child. It's about the woman being bitter and controlling the man. Child support never comes in unless the woman gets mad.
Yes.
It's like, I don't like how it is held over some men's head. As long as you're doing what I want you to do, when I want you to do it, I'm good. But as soon as you don't do it, they get threatened. I'm taking child support down on you. You know, and a lot of, and I'm being honest, black men go through that.
I ain't never cared for child support office. Never. I ain't never liked them. Yes. Because they're, for the ones that's talking about, ma'am, child support is to provide for your own child. That ain't what it's for, honey. You think they care about your child? Child support is for bitter bitches who, when they baby daddy move on, they have some leverage. That's what all I ever seen it used for. Yes. Yes. And those with the deadbeat baby daddies, baby, you're safe because they don't go after them. He's safe. Yes. They go after the men who actually take care of their kids and try. You don't have to ask him for nothing. They bring the money over on their own. Mm-hmm. They don't want him to bring it voluntarily. They want to take it from him.
How black women get upset when they say, oh, they degrading us. They going to the next this, that woman. No, it's not that, because we do play games. We do play games. We do play games. Soon as that man makes you unhappy, the first thing you do is go down and take child support out on him. And what gets me is you done moved on with your life, but soon as that man meets somebody that moved on doing good and happy, that heifer ain't finna get nothing. I'm finna go down there and take child support out on them. I have seen it so many times. And as a woman, I'm not talking against women. I'm just saying I'm not that type of woman who feel like, I'm not going to control you through child support. Because what women don't understand is you set yourself up too. You set yourself up too. Yeah. Because it's not only getting in the man business, it's getting in yours as well. You set yourself up too. And then at the end of the day, it's like the father of that child have to go through a system to do anything with his child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Did y'all have that conversation before y'all even had kids? Did you have the conversation to say, hey, when you get mad at me, I'm going to take child support out on you. So while we had this kid, you better do everything I tell you. You are my puppet. As soon as you stop letting go of the strings, I'm going to take child support out on you. I mean, you're a father.
We made that decision early.
It's just, as a woman, it's just wrong. I have boys. And it's sad that I have to say, make sure you pay your child support. Because I don't want them to get locked up because they missed the payment.
Yeah.
And they still young trying to figure it out.
Them arrears, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They still young trying to figure it out. And seeing other men that I know, they are young, still trying to figure it out. And all the advice I'm going to give to y'all nowadays is, listen, I get it. When we are feeling good, we're not thinking, we lay down and we don't think a baby can come out of this. But I'm telling you, when you lay down and have a baby with somebody, you better make sure that's the right person you want to have children with. Because it's not even about you just dealing with that child. You got to deal with that mother for 18 years. Yep. So it's easy to lay down and make a baby, but baby, it ain't easy to deal with the mother. And some men I know would rather pay child support so they won't deal with the mother. And it's sad. I know friends that say, I can't deal with her. I just want to give her this child support. They even got to the point where they don't have nothing to do with the child because the mom makes it so unbearable to even be around because it's all about me, my, what I want.
Yeah.
And it's sad. So a lot of men are out here paying child support because the mother has made it so difficult for them to even be around a child because they got to dictate every little thing that they do. And some men say, hey, just take this money. I'm done.
The courts handle it.
Yeah. So I wanted to chime in on what you're saying there, like, because there was two things that I thought about while you were saying that. So obviously, it's different from state to state with how they deal with child support. But here in North Carolina, the system very much will side with the mother. Almost 100% of the time.
You're automatically placed on it if they ask for help. They get put in a program and they go after you.
Yes. So that's problem number one. Not saying that mothers don't deserve their kids and none of that. I'm just simply saying that a lot of times here in this state, by them just siding with the mother, that doesn't mean that she's the better parent or that she's necessarily in the right, because a lot of times that's what we just saw with what we were looking at a second ago. There are fathers out here who are doing the right thing, but then they still have to turn around and pay that child support, which is crazy. Doesn't make sense. So that right there doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I don't have children either. So I was curious, what y'all thought about the court system, because I'm assuming, after you pay child support and you are being obligated to pay the child support and you're making your payments on time and stuff like that, can you then go to the courts and say, she's not letting me see my child. I need y'all to make sure that I'm getting my time with my child. And then they're supposed to take it from there and intervene. And is it that easy?
No.
Okay.
They'll tell you to do civil court, take it to family court and stuff like that. And this what gets me too. Every 3 years, you can go get a review.
Mm-hmm.
So
3 years?
Every 3 years, mom can go get a review. So, and it's sad because some men want to work under the table where they can't be tracked because
can't garnish their money.
So because they can't garnish their money. Then when you taking most of their check, okay, this is what I don't get with the court system. This is why I don't like when our men are dragged into child support. Is for one, they don't go by your gross. They go by your gross. They do go by your gross, but they don't look at what you're putting out.
Yep.
So some of these men can't even survive with the child support because they can't even pay their bills. They going by, okay, you making $3,000, but then your rent is $1,200. You got a car payment to get back to work about $600. They ain't looking at all that.
Car insurance.
They looking at $3,000. Then you got to pay her $800 a month. But
and still take care of the kids.
and then don't get wrong. Health insurance. You got to do the health insurance and all that.
Yeah.
And then don't get me wrong. Some men should be obligated to take care of their kids, but it's a lot of women out there using these kids as pawns.
Yep.
And look, and I'm not bashing women. I'm just talking about what I know and what I see, because I work with a lot of women and I see these things. When you come up to me and say, "Hey, Miss Juicy, I just paid $276 to get my toes and my nails done, and you showing me and your hair and your door look like buckwheat." Come on now.
Yep.
I'm just saying, It doesn't make sense to me. So you done took that child support money, went and got your hair and nails done, but you're not taking care of your child. So a lot of these women use these kids for money.
Yeah.
I did something on Facebook. I had women report me. I even had a woman argue me down. Well, my caseworker said that this child support can go to me. She lied to you, sweetheart. It's child support, not mother support. So my question to some of these women, are you just having these kids to make money off of them? To get
Some
food
of them are.
stamps?
Some of them really are. That's the whole job. That is their job.
Yep.
Push out a bunch of kids, put a bunch of dudes on child support,
Tax money.
live off of government assistance.
Yeah.
Claiming their
It all
kids.
combined. They got their money. They getting their hair done. They getting their nails done, and they rent $50 too.
Yeah.
Like they living their best life.
Getting a car for 30 days and then after them 30 days, it's getting repoed. That
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still can't manage the money, and they ain't even going to make the money.
Yeah.
It's just
Facts.
crazy.
Yeah, the manipulation is wild though, because you look at certain situations where, let's say you got two people come together, they have a child, even if they ain't in a relationship, and it's just two people that randomly met, happen to have a child. Then in turn, that female could either A, tell the man, that she's pregnant, or she could withhold the information, or move. And I've seen this in certain situations where a female will literally just take her child with her. Cause being selfish as a parent, take the child. The child ain't in no danger from the man or anything, but uproot them and move away simply because they being selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're in a situation where, okay, you trying to take out child support or trying to say that this person ain't doing their job, but you're the one who either didn't tell them about it or you left, and now you want them to pay for what you chose to do? That don't make sense.
And you saying that, I'm gonna talk about story time, like Shawn say, story time.
Story time.
Okay, story time. True story. Plenty of times. Okay, so I'm a woman. I meet this guy. I'm gonna use myself for an example because I want people to think I'm out there talking about him. I'm probably is though, but I meet this guy and we honest with each other. Hey, we're not trying to be in a relationship. We just doing our thing. I'm not trying to be committed, nothing like that. Then I pop up pregnant. This man lets me know I'm not ready to be a father. We were just doing our thing. If you were saying that you wasn't didn't want to be committed, I didn't think that it would go this far. We always put it on the man that, oh, you ain't want kids, you should have strapped down. You as a woman don't want kids. You got to make sure you do your part too. It shouldn't, the responsibility should not all be on the man. Because anything can happen. That condom can bust. It could be old. It could be anything. It could be too big for him. Anything. You know what I'm saying? So as a woman, you got to make sure that you're doing the right things for you not to get pregnant. But soon as a woman get pregnant, everybody want to blame the man. Society has put it where it's the man's fault. The man should have made sure he was taking proper precautions not to get her pregnant, but it takes two not to get pregnant, okay? So this man done sat down with me and said, look, Juicy, I don't want to be a father. So I take it upon myself. I don't care what you say. I'm going to keep this baby anyway. So then you have women out there saying, oh, he's not doing anything when this man done told you he wasn't ready to be a father. But you decide to keep this child and put him on child support. That is so wrong because a lot of women present things out here like, oh, this is that when you knew y'all wasn't in a relationship, when you knew you was just a jump off, when you knew it wasn't nothing, but then as soon as a child get involved, you want to play victim to the circumstances you created. You set yourself up for that open door. If he wasn't using a condom and you wasn't using anything to protect yourself from getting pregnant, then how can you say, I wasn't trying to get pregnant? Yes, you was. A baby don't keep no man.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little pushback, right? I just want some clarification. So when you're saying she was wrong about not protecting herself, not wrong about keeping the child.
No, she was wrong for keeping the child. Okay, I don't believe in abortions.
Right.
But don't play victim to the circumstance that you created. If that man told you that he was not ready to have a child and you took it upon yourself to have that child, why run down there and take child support out on him?
Yeah.
When y'all done sat down and had that conversation.
Yeah.
If he told you he wasn't ready to have a child and you go ahead and have a child, then you take that responsibility to say, okay, I'm gonna be a single mother.
Okay.
I respect that. You told me you don't want to be a father, then I'm gonna handle this situation myself because I want to keep this child.
Okay, let me give a little follow up. Okay, so if she has gotten with this guy, they both had sex with each other, and they both were consensual. Do you feel like once two people agree to do that activity, that they are subconsciously signing up to the possibility of a child?
Well, when you're in the spur of the moment,
Yeah.
you don't think. But me,
Right.
after having my kids, I didn't want no more kids.
Right.
So I didn't put it on the man to make sure I didn't have no more kids. I made sure I didn't have any more kids.
Okay. So you're saying that they're both at fault, but then she's also at fault for the idea of wanting to go get child support on him as well.
Yeah.
As a follow up. Okay.
When they both
Now,
done sat down.
If he is a, because this is where I'm kind of like on the fence about it, right?
Mhm.
So I have a cousin, right? Let's say I have a lot of female cousins, right?
Mhm.
And they've, had their children or whatever. Now, if the man is just doing absolutely nothing, not even spending time, it'd be one thing if he was spending time, but if he's doing absolutely nothing, don't want to spend time, don't want to see a child, don't want to do with the child, do you then feel like it's okay to do child support, or you just don't agree with child support across the board?
Well, I'm speaking for myself.
Mhm.
If I know this man didn't want this child, I wouldn't force him to be in that child life because it's like I'm pushing this child on him knowing he didn't want this child. And it didn't make me feel like, hey, I wouldn't want my child around him or his family when I knew he didn't want this child. So I would take it upon myself and do what I have to do as a mother because I decided to keep this child. When he told me I don't want to have it, I don't want no parts of it. So why should I force him to do anything when he told me this? I don't want the child. I don't want no parts of it. I help you get an abortion. But if you decide to keep the child, it's on you. If we had this conversation, it's one thing if we didn't, but if we did, I wouldn't force him to be in that child's life. No,
I do get what you're saying because it's a safety thing, right? If you send a child to that person knowing that he didn't want that child, he might not supervise the child could get hurt, killed, or whatever. He wouldn't care. So I would understand the paranoia of sending that child around. Now I do disagree in the sense of that if the child is here and he's doing absolutely nothing, then I understand child support. If you've reached out to him and said, hey, I don't want to put you on child support, but if you continue to do absolutely nothing, like even financially, I'm not forcing you to be a part of this kid's life, but you need to at least do something financially to help me pay for the school fees, the clothes, the this, the that, the third, right? Then that part I agree with. Now, if there's an active father who's doing their 50%, then I don't agree with child support. I think that's where we differ because I feel like if you are doing your part, there's no need to bring in child support. But if you are not doing your part, then child support can be an option, but it should definitely be a conversation prior to. And I also feel like when it comes to that man, his job, like once you know as a man that you're having sex, there is responsibility on both parties. Women will lie and say that he's not doing his part when he actually is and put him on child support. That is wrong. But if you are both doing your part and you know as a man that once I go out here and I start engaging in sexual activity, children are produced from sexual activity, whether I'm protecting myself, whether she's protecting herself, we know that can produce children. So that's the only part I disagree with. Like if you know that you're having sex and you know that you can create a child, you got to do your part. And if you don't do your part and you've been warned and the conversation has been had, then we can consider child support.
Yeah. Well, I disagree. I'm sorry. I disagree. I get what you're saying, but this is my thing. As a woman, I can't speak for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. Yeah, the man know he can get me pregnant, but I also know myself I can get pregnant. So it's just not on the man to make sure that I don't get pregnant.
Yes, both of
them.
Yeah.
But if he know I don't want to have kids and he ain't trying to use a condom, then we ain't going no further. if I don't have any protection. So it's just as much on the woman as it is on the man. But if I got pregnant going into this relationship knowing he didn't want to have kids, see, this is what the problem I have. We going into this relationship, I know he don't want to have kids, but yet I'm still not doing my part to not get myself put in that situation to where I end up pregnant.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
can't he be responsible too and say, hey,
I wouldn't want him to, because I'm not going to force him to be a father when he let me know from day one he didn't want to be a father. So why would I keep having sex with him without a condom
Yeah.
if I know
Exactly.
I can get pregnant?
Exactly.
I get what you're saying, but I feel like it's not just her responsibility. I don't feel like it's just his responsibility. I feel like they both are adults and they both have their responsibility. And I feel like when it comes to the man, you have to be, like you said, you have to be very cautious of who you're sleeping with and make sure that you wrap it up, because if you don't, you are risking that. And I know there's like a 99 whatever % chance, and there's a small chance that even with the condom, she could still get pregnant. But I just feel like as a man, and I don't want to take care of your kids. If you're that guy that are telling women that you don't want to have children, but you keep sleeping with these women and they keep having your children, I'm not taking care of your kids. So don't take my taxes out.
Yeah.
You take care of your kids.
But listen
You
to
do
what
it.
you
But see,
said.
I ain't doing it.
But
Like,
listen to
that's
what
not
you
happening.
said. You know I don't want to have kids, so why would she keep having sex with him?
Exactly.
Okay, but isn't that both their faults?
Well, it's more. I say
And the
it's
child
more.
is here.
I say it's more of the woman's. If you know this man don't want to have kids and you keep having sex with him, I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna be the better person. And say, look, you don't want to have kids.
So
you don't want to use a condom. We can't keep doing this.
So really, it comes down to the fact that we have different standards for men and women. Women, we expect to be the more responsible ones. And men, we give them passes to be somewhat more carefree.
No.
Because in the way you're saying that, because in
No,
a sense, you're saying that he's vindicated because he told them he doesn't want to have a child. But he's still taking off his drawers and having sex.
But
He's
she
not
allowed
vindicated,
him.
but she's
she's allowing
partaking
him
in
and
it.
he's allowing
Thank you.
her.
Yes.
Because as a man, I have enough self-control that if a woman, I've had a woman try to have sex with me in a car and I told her, no, I'm good. Because I know that she has other kids and I know how fertile she is. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
See, somebody stepped up and said no.
Me as a man, you can't excuse me as a man saying, oh, well, I'm a man and I told her I didn't want to have kids. No, I said, we're not having sex. We're not doing that. So as a man, we do have self-control. I don't like when we have a scapegoat where we can act like we don't have no self-control and we told her, so we're vindicated and we're totally free.
No.
Now,
No,
I do
that's not what I'm
believe that
saying.
women abuse child support. I do believe that wholeheartedly. Like, women will say he's not doing his part or whatever, and then use that to go get child support. And that's wrong. And I feel like women should be more sympathetic to a man who's trying, because you know that child support is going to take majority of his check when he has other bills. So if a man is trying or doing his best with what he has, then he shouldn't be put on child support. The only men that deserve to be put on child support are the men who look at that child, look at her and say, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't trying. I ain't visiting. I ain't coming over. I ain't paying nothing. I'm not paying for McDonald's. I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to look at that child and keep walking like they don't even exist. Those men need to be put on child support.
Well, I'm gonna say this. The society has set it up for it. Say it's the man's fault anytime a woman get pregnant. The society is set up like that to say blame the man when a woman get pregnant. And no, we got to stop. It's stereotype in certain situations. It's not the man's fault for the woman getting pregnant. It's just as much as the woman's fault getting pregnant along with the man. If you are adamant as a woman saying you don't want to have kids, a man, and you saying the man keep having sex, the man ain't gonna keep having sex with me unless I allow him to.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't have self-control?
No, what
No,
she's trying to
no,
say
no,
is
you're missing the
he
point.
may not
Yeah.
have self-control, but her allowing him to still have sex with her, she's just
But
as
why
much
do we
responsible.
expect more
She just-
responsibility from her?
We're not
Because it's her
expecting
body.
it. We're not
It's
expecting
his
it,
body
but she
too. He
didn't want
gotta
to have
stick it
kids
in,
either.
don't he?
Well,
She
here's the
allows
thing,
it though. It's never going to happen unless she
It's a give and
says.
take. Sex is a mutual decision where both parties are giving and taking. So therefore, she allows it, but he also allows it, because a woman could come to me naked and say, "Hey, I want you to have sex with me," but I could say, "I'm not going to allow that." I'm not going to allow that.
But
because
in
I'm
that
not gonna
situation,
engage.
she's
So-
agreeing to it.
She's agreeing to, but so is he when he says yes.
Yes, but
So both parties are responsible. So why are we trying to say it's one person's fault or the other person's fault?
We're
These
not.
two adults.
we're not saying it's
come
anyone's
together.
We're
fault.
not. We're just saying it's just as much as the woman fault
Yeah.
Oh, I agree
as the
with that.
man.
Yeah.
If they're gonna have sex and they both saying they
Yeah.
don't. Okay, this is my thing.
Yeah.
Let me rewind it back.
Mm.
If I know you don't want to have kids and you ain't trying to use protection, I'm not gonna keep having sex with you.
Yeah, so that shut it off. Right
I'm
there.
shutting it down.
No kids is gonna happen.
No kids gonna happen because you telling me, Juicy, I don't want kids.
Mm.
But you feel so good, I can't use a condom. Well, baby, guess what? The feeling getting ready to stop because you don't want kids, I'm not gonna set myself up to even accidentally get pregnant. So we finna stop this right now because I know what you telling me you don't want no kids. So I already know if I get pregnant by you, it's not gonna be good because you telling me you don't want kids. I'm not gonna keep having sex with you.
So in that same scenario, we know that she's wrong for not cutting it off. Yes. And we know that he's wrong for saying, "Oh, it feels so good, I'm not going to use a condom." That's also irresponsible. So we're just saying that they're both
it out there.
They're both irresponsible. Okay,
they're both irresponsible.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah, it's
okay.
The argument there is just that okay, if you already know this person doesn't want to do what they're supposed to do in order to prevent this, but you still allow them, then at the end of the day, you got yourself to blame.
Yeah.
Don't play victim to the circumstances you created.
She's not a victim, and neither is he.
No.
The only victim is the child. That's what we're saying.
Well, he's definitely not a victim because he already told her, "Hey, I ain't trying to." But she still let him go in there and do what he want to do, knowing he's irresponsible.
Yeah, so both
then that's kind of like, okay, well, you know.
But no, what I say about victim is women do play victim.
Yeah,
they know what was They know what they was going in this relationship, and the first thing they want to do is badmouth the man when she get pregnant. When that man already sat down and talked to her, say, "Look, I'm feeling you. I like what we doing and whatever, but I don't want to have kids." Then you have some women, and I piggyback, and I have to agree with you. You even have some women who the man wants to use the condom and stuff, and then the woman will lie and say she on birth control pills. He stopped using the condom, and then she pop up pregnant.
Or she allergic to condoms?
Or she allergic to condoms and all kind of stuff. So sometimes women can be very trifling at times too, because a man will say, "Look, I'm not ready for kids. I got a lot of stuff that I'm doing with my business. I'm trying to get stuff set up, and right now I don't have time for kids." But that woman wants that man so bad, she'll put holes in the condom. She'll say she's allergic to condoms. She'll say she on birth control pills when she not. And so I hate when people say, "Oh, it's the man's fault she got pregnant." No, me being a woman, it's just as much as my responsibility too to say, "You don't want kids?" Then I'm not going to set myself up to open the crack for me to even get pregnant by you. I need to do my part, because if you telling me you don't want kids, but you showing me different, then I got to step up and make sure I don't have a kid by you. Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
And then if I was to get pregnant, I got to say, well, Dad, this man told me that he didn't want to have this baby. So now I got to deal with this hurt and pain, knowing my child might be rejected from this man. I'm going to pay child support. I'm putting myself through all that. So me as a woman, I can't speak for everybody else. I would rather not deal with that.
Okay. So I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, I would just step up and handle my business.
I just think that women should, I think what you're doing as a woman talking to other women, that's how it should be. And as grown men talking to other men, that's how it should be. Because if the adult women are holding these young girls responsible when it comes to sex, and grown men are holding young men responsible when it comes to sex, I think we'll have a much better outcome when it comes to stopping all of these children that are being made in these toxic situations and child support and all of that.
So how do we affect change with the child support? Because say the man isn't taking care of them. Instead of putting somebody on child support, how about we just teach these women how to, sign, the man can sign his rights over, and then teach these women, instead of putting them in a program that gives them assistance and they just sit there, teach them how to, okay, look, we're going to put you in this program. He signed over his rights, and now let's get you right to where, as a single mother, you can take care of these kids on your own.
I don't believe
Instead of asking this man who may be getting himself together, whatever the situation is, and if he just ain't the right person or ain't going to assume that responsibility, not giving him a pass. But at the end of the day, some men, like she said, you're working, you're getting better, you're trying to better yourself at the end of the day to be able to take care of something.
Maybe this is a solution to that, right? So say they take on what you're talking about, right? They put in some type of program where, okay, these guys can sign over the rights, and we can put these women in these programs, or assist them in some way, and then on the back end of that, whether it be local government or actual the actual regular government, that man who had this child, who actually is not want to be involved in their life. Okay, cool. Well, now for each kid that you done had, since you not contributing in to this other parent, and you decide you don't want to be in there, but you put somebody out there in the world, a new human being out there in the world. Well, now every year you're going to assume this penalty of some sort.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I agree
Okay.
there.
Yeah. I
So-
can see that.
As long as there's a penalty, because I feel like we live in a society where you have to, in order to stop something from happening, you have to make people an example.
Yeah.
And as messed up as that is, in order to have a functioning society, sometimes you have to make examples out of people to show the society that you're not going to keep doing this. So when it comes to men having these children and signing away their rights, there should be a penalty because it's going to show other men like, oh, I'm going to be a little more cautious when I'm out here doing my thing.
Completely agree.
Because I don't want to create no kid and have to go through those penalties that I see him going through.
Yeah.
And same thing for women. I think the parent that should be used as the example is whoever's not taking care of the child because there are single dads out here too.
Absolutely.
And
I
there
was
are
going to talk
moms
about
who
that.
are not in the
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
And they just come around once in the blue and they want some money or something like that.
Yeah.
All those parents, male or female, whichever parent is not doing their part and has signed away their rights should definitely have a penalty. I agree with that.
And then, like you said, it's some women who just decide one day they don't want to be a mother and just walk away.
Yeah.
So it's not only women going through stuff, men go through stuff too. And me, if a man told me he didn't want to have a child and I had a child by him and I take on that responsibility, and then I put my all in that, and that's what a lot of people deal with. As soon as that child get famous, here come the absent parent coming from out of nowhere.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, oh, that's my daughter. Oh, that's my son.
Yeah, facts.
And so I feel like this. The problem I have with child support is, as a mother who has dealt with it, I shouldn't have to make nobody take care of that child.
Not at all.
At the end of the day, when that child get old enough to have a conversation with you, you got to look that child in your face and explain why you wasn't around. Because me, the type of woman I am, I never needed it, never depended on it, never thought about it. I had these kids. I chose to keep these kids, and I made sure whatever I did, my kids was well taken care of. Yeah. So that's why I think the way I think. I don't want to have to force no man to take care of a child. You know, that's just me. I can't speak for everybody else. You know, I just can't speak for everybody else. Because it was exhausting going up and down the highway, going to court. He wasn't showing up. It was exhausting when he wanted to turn the tables on me, talk about how much I was paying. How much I was making. I'll never forget. That's why I despise child support, because it makes you look like a fool sometimes in court. I'll never forget I was in court. And he gonna talk about me working at the post office, but you supposed to be paying child support, and that's why I don't like it. They turned the tables on me and was like, oh yeah, your income does matter. Hold up. So if you don't know about child support, it's a win-lose situation because honestly, I could have sworn that man was sleeping with somebody down there because they was on his side. I'm sorry, I'm just keeping it 100. I think he had somebody stigmatized down there because they was on his side. I even had a social worker say, how we know them his kids.
Oh, wow.
The judge, oh, wait a minute now. So you work at the post office? Yes, your income do matter. And so, you know, it ain't always lovely on the mother end either. You know, because a man can come in there and say something and then the tables get turned. So no, I don't like child support at all. I don't like child support because first of all, you get up in my business when I didn't even ask to be here. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like if we can't handle things within us, I don't want to get the court system involved. If you don't want to be a daddy, hey, that's on you. One day you gonna have to look these kids in their face and say why I wasn't around.
Yeah. Wow.
But mama ain't had nothing to do with it. Don't use me because your mama took me down to child support and she knew I was trying. No, you ain't. I'm gonna be one of them women. No, child support ain't got nothing to do with it, baby. It's on you.
Yeah.
Now that's true. You will be able to say if you don't go that route, you will be able to say when he makes up excuses, he can't say, oh, it's because your mom took me in child support and I ain't have no money. That is a good point right there. And I also feel like if we do have people sign away their rights to their kids and face a penalty, we also need to have programs to supplement the absence of that father or that mother. Because when a child, I feel, doesn't have both that male and female presence,
it definitely impacts them.
It impacts them and it kind of makes them off balance almost.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to have programs, mentorship, something. I remember somebody said something on social media in regards to the Black community. It was like, you know, all these kids that are missing fathers. Well, if you are a man, a Black man who takes care of your children, why don't you reach out to one of those kids that is fatherless and take them under your wing? If all these Black fathers did that, then we could actually help mend that rift in our community. Although it is, to me, kind of like more of a idea because I can see how that could go left depending on who the mom is
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So we need to come up with something to supplement, because we can't just let him sign away and now we have this mom with 3 kids and there's no father, and we wonder why these boys are tearing up the city and like being total menaces to society. We got to make sure we have some type of supplement for that.
But you also have some good men out there who take them, who go downtown themselves and say, hey, I want to pay child support.
Yeah.
Because they want to make sure that they don't miss a
Facts.
payment. They want to make sure that the mom is getting money to take care of the child.
Yeah.
And they go down there, do that, and they still do more than that, and then get a slap in the face.
Yeah. Still get criticized.
Still get criticized.
Basically doing stuff twice. You're taking care of your kids, but they still want the child support.
Yeah.
The kids are physically with you, and they still want the child
That's the part
support.
I don't like.
Yeah.
Like, you see the man is active, you see the man is present, you see the man is doing his 50%, he has his kids, he doesn't make a fuss when you call and say, can you come get the kids? He's like, sure, he want to see his kids. That man does not deserve to be put on child support. I don't care how much more he's making. I don't care how much more successful he is than a mother. He's doing his 50%. And I wish courts would kind of recognize that. Stop giving money to people when that person who's giving the money is doing their 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
I was gonna ask you something too, because
Okay.
before we got into this discussion about, you know, the penalties and things like that,
Yeah.
you know, you had made the statement about, and I'm going to change it just a little bit. So it doesn't matter if it's mother or father that's not in the picture. You know, if the father's taking care of the kids or the mom's taking care of the kids. Do you think that it's okay? Well, I'm not going to say, do you think it's okay? Do you think it's enough where if that other parent doesn't want to be in the kid's life, you know, like you said, if y'all already had that discussion before y'all ever had the kid or anything like that, if that parent doesn't want to be in the kid's life and all they're doing is financially supporting,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that's enough?
Financially supporting, yeah. Because like Juicy said earlier, it's a safety concern if you're sending your child to a man that does not want that child.
Well,
because-
not just a man. I'm just saying, like,
Oh, well, to the
Just in
parent.
general.
just a parent.
Okay, to the parent that does.
Yeah.
It's a safety concern if you're sending a child to the parent who does not want that child, because then there's going to be cases of neglect and abuse and things, and that's going to make you as a parent have to go handle some business, and that's not going to work out for you or your child, because now the child has no parent because you had to get rid of the other one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, with that being the case, I feel like the financial part is good enough, but I would advise whoever that parent is, like, let's say that it's a dad, right? And the mom is paying her financial part, but she doesn't want to be a part of the child's life. He needs to figure out how he's going to supplement that female presence. Hopefully he has some sisters or some aunts or some women in his age group that could come and really fill that gap. I always said, like, if I ever was a single dad, because I met a single dad and I never thought about it, but I said, if I was a single dad and there was no mother in the picture, the first person I'm calling is my female cousins. Like, hey, I'm going to give you some money, you know, just twice a week. If you could just come and, you know, spend time with my daughter, take her with you, do some things. You have to make sure you figure out a way to supplement. And if you don't have family, maybe like mentorship, something to supplement that other presence, because that's important for children.
It is. And the reason I asked that is because I agree with y'all. You know, obviously you don't want to send a kid to anyone who you think might be put in harm's way, you know, if you send them there or anything like that. But, you know, just we're all adults at this point, you know, so we can think back to, like, and this is with anybody, but we can all think back to things that maybe were lacking when we were kids that we didn't get from our parents or from certain situations that directly affect us and, you know, molding us who we are as individuals. And, you know, even after you become an adult, it's like some of those things really truly affect you. But for kids, it's very, very, it's so different, because once you get to be an adult, you realize, you know what? I understand where this came from, this trauma, but at the same time, you're like, it really shouldn't. It shouldn't be something that should have, you know, affected me to the point where I, you know, couldn't do this or couldn't do that. But as a kid, as, you know, as an adolescent, it doesn't process that way, right? So when you have like a parent that's not in the picture, a lot of times you get, you know, why doesn't daddy love me? Why doesn't mommy love me? Or why aren't they around? You know, so even if somebody's financially supporting and they're not there in present in that kid's life in some capacity, then there's always going to be some things that are going to affect that child, right?
Right.
And the sad thing is with that, like I said, you can't force nobody to love anybody. You can't force nobody to be in somebody's life. And if you force somebody to be in somebody's life who doesn't want to be there, it may actually cause more mental damage or emotional damage because, like you said, they realize, well, dang, they don't even want me around. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, that's why I speak on the reason why I feel the way I do is because you can get caught up despising the other parent and you take it out on that child.
Mhm.
So if I know that somebody didn't want to have a child with me and I end up keeping that child, my job is to protect that child by all means necessary because I'm not going to push my child on somebody who don't want that child. And then I don't know who he been talking to when he get with somebody and I'm sending my child over there because I'm like, well, you the father, you supposed to do this, you gonna do this. And you see so many kids get hurt by the girlfriend, the wife, or the husband, or the boyfriend, where innocent kids are being passed away because you done talk to your spouse about their mother or father, and then their significant other has a problem with your child, and then they mistreat that child. You put that child in danger. So me as a woman, I can't speak for all women. I don't care if the father, when I get my mind set up to say, I'm not finna force you to do anything, I'm gonna be the parent I need to be, but I was blessed because I have a good support team. I had my father, I had my brothers. So even though I was a single parent, my kids still had that father figure in my brothers, their uncles, and their grandfather. So I come from a good family. But then I also know how my brothers and my dad is, I'm not gonna send my kids and then something happen. We all going. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it was more me protecting my kids and my family because I knew that it's crazy because my oldest son birthday is the same as his grandmother's. And nothing. So I'm not finna do that to my kids.
Oh.
You ain't got to know your daddy, his people. You ain't got to know none of them, but you got me. You got your family. And that was just me protecting my kids because I'm not finna put them in a situation where I knew they wasn't wanted.
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel the way I feel. I'm not going to force nothing on somebody. And especially if a man sitting down talking to me and let me know he don't want this, I'm not even finna waste my time with you on nothing. Yes, that child needs that financial protection, but that's where I stood up and did what I had to do. I worked 2 jobs. I went to school. I got an education because my kids wasn't going to want for nothing, and I wasn't going to waste time trying to make this man be in their life when he didn't want to, and I put all that effort and time to better myself so my kids can have a better life. That's what I did.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
So what do y'all think? So what if, hypothetically speaking, what if you have somebody who, their finances ain't all that good, but you physically can see that, let's say they have kids, multiple people. They're taking care of their kids and their finances are able to take care of those kids. They have other kids and they pay their child support, but the time can't really be there. Is he fulfilling his duty by not asking questions, paying his child support, and trying to get into position to do what he needs to do, even though if he didn't have to pay that child support, he's financially able to get into a place to where, okay, now he can do everything. Like, is that acceptable, or is that still looked at as, I need to make this man pay child? I'm not going to allow him to get himself straight. I know he got his mind right. I see that he's taking care of his kids, but he need to do the same thing over here. Like, it's okay to force that man to still have to pay child support?
No, I think it goes back to, again, are you trying?
Yeah, trying. That's
So
what
if
I'm
you're
saying.
trying, if I can
Absolutely.
see that you're trying, there's no reason to put that person on child support because
Yeah.
they're trying. They're literally trying to set themselves up to help with their child. Now, if you trying, it's going to take 18 years. That's crazy.
Well, not
But, you know what I'm
18
saying?
years, but
But
just
if
in
you're
general.
trying,
It's just
yeah.
in general. Like when you say
Yeah.
trying, somebody who you can physically see that, hey, you know what? If this man, obviously,
Yeah.
we grow up. We all start out as boys. We all make stupid
Yeah.
decisions. We grow. We mature. At the end of the day, if you see somebody really trying to build something and has the resources to do what he need to do, but you still do that,
Yeah.
you're handicapping him to not even get to the point that he needs to get.
Yeah.
And then ultimately now it's like it's a fight between a good man trying to do right, but them still
You knock him
it's
down.
like, you're knocking him down. Like
when he's trying.
if you give him that opportunity to do what he needs to do within, like you said, it shouldn't take 18 years, but within that year of him focusing, allowing him to go to school, allowing him to actually do what he needs to do, not looking at it like, okay, he's not doing this or he's not spending the time. That man still got to get his life together too.
Yeah.
Give him a chance to get his life together.
Yeah.
And when he do, I guarantee you the benefit from that is way more than whatever that little bit of child support is.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% because it shouldn't be about the money at the end of the day. It should be more about what you're trying to build for that child. So if that parent who is the primary parent is looking at you and see that you're trying to build something for your child, then they should respect that. And I don't think that you deserve to be on child support. There was one thing that you said though. You said as young guys, we make mistakes. True. But I think a lot of guys have a mentality that we don't have the conversations with our sons to prepare them so that they're less likely to make those mistakes.
That's true.
I think a lot of guys, from what I've seen, when their sons are out here having sex and doing all this other stuff early, they're not so like they seem to be encouraging it more so than discouraging it.
Yeah.
And I think as Black fathers, this is the time where those of us who have young boys, we need to have those conversations with them and say, hey, son, I've been through this. I know what it's like to be a teen parent. I know what it's like to want to have sex and do all this stuff when you're in your teens and all that stuff. But these are the realities of that situation. This is the aftermath. Let me show you. Let me explain it to you. Let's have that conversation so that our boys are more likely to wait longer before they actually engage in the activity. I was raised with my dad telling me, like, listen, you're a teen. You don't have sex in high school. I did that. I had 2 children from that. My life had to stop and my kids had to become my priority. Yeah. So I'm warning you that if you engage in that, then your life will also have to stop for your children. Yeah. So if you don't want your life to stop and you want to have fun and enjoy your life, then I advise you wait. And I did exactly what he said. Yeah. I didn't rush to do it. And I got to enjoy my life because all through my 20s, and some people can do this with kids. But for me, I felt like in my 20s, I traveled to Jamaica 3 times. I went to the Philippines. I went to Japan. I went to this. I went to that. Dominican Republic. I got to finish my degrees, do all the things that I wanted to do because I followed his advice. Had I not followed his advice, I'm not the multitasker that can do all that and still have kids. Some people can because my parents did it. But I'm not that person.
I get it. It's crazy that you brought that up because I mean, I have a son in high school about to graduate. I had that exact talk with him earlier today. Yeah. Like I said, learn from my mistakes. I mean, I got boys and girls. So I talk to both of them the same way. I'm not my kid's friend or best friend like that, but I'm their parent in the aspect of I've had these talks with them before they could even think about doing stuff like that. So I make sure my son knows at the end of the day, these females is out here, but don't fall into that same, I don't even want to say trap that I did. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I didn't really have nobody to talk to me like that.
Right.
Exactly what you said.
Yep. That goes back to needing that supplement for the fatherless homes or people who don't have those tight relationships with that, whichever parent, father, mother, that goes back to having those resources, the mentorships to this, to that. We got to figure that part out.
Exactly. Having that talk, because like I said, the era I grew up in, you kind of imitate what you see. Yeah. So my actions as a kid, I kind of, fell into, well, this is all I know. Thanks. This is what you're supposed to do. But being able to just talk to somebody like, okay, look, like you said, you got to learn from my mistakes. Yeah. That's basically what, and I do that with all my friends at the end of the day. Thanks. Hey, look, I had kids right out of high school. Like you said, life stops. Granted, yes, some people manage a way to still have fun and stuff. But I know for me, once my first kid came, everything stopped. It ain't even about me no more. The lifestyle that I want, guess what? I got to make sure I can provide that for them. And if I can't provide that for them, why am I about to go out here and try to live it at the end of the day?
I like what you said when you said you have boys and girls and you talk to them the same. Even as mothers, especially single moms, you got to have those conversations with your son and your daughters. And, we talk about talking to your sons, but we also got to talk to these daughters because they are the ones that can get pregnant and like you was talking about and end up keeping the child. How do you tell a 16-year-old girl or a 16-year-old boy that they finna become parents? That's why, like y'all both said, you got to educate these kids, because then a lot of times when stuff like that happens, these are kids having kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's kids having kids. A 16, and like you said, they should know that responsibility. But when you don't have that background where you sitting here talking to these kids, they're kids having kids experimenting, having fun. And then a baby pops out. You got kids who even have kids at the age of 12, get pregnant at the age of 12.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you tell a 12-year-old that they give your life finna change?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? That's hard. So a lot of these relationships and a lot of these kids go down the wrong path because they was born from a child.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They was born from a child. And so, even with my programs, I try to talk to, I get consent that, when I do my sex education class, I actually got things where we have the condoms and all that stuff. And then, I actually want to start a program where we have the little babies and stuff, and they have to take the babies with them. They got to cry, feed them, and show them this is no joke.
I mean, my daughter friend has that right now.
Yeah, this is no joke. And so, like you said, I like when you said for the kids who don't have that parent figure, we have to come together. Remember a village. It takes a village.
Yep.
Well, we don't have that village anymore. We don't have that village anymore.
Yeah.
But it's so many innocent kids out here that are just roaming these streets because they come from a child. They haven't broke those generational curses. So you got mom had a child 14, grandma had a child 12, and then here you go 14 pregnant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And so how can we sit up here and sit down and have conversations when they are only children having children? And we see this a lot.
Well, they're saying that in these recent generations, it's a lot less teen parents, actually, because I feel like a lot of teen parents. Well, first of all, we have to go back into our history, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that young girls were getting married to old men.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout our history at
Mm-hmm.
like 14, 15 years old and producing all these children.
Mm-hmm.
So the tradition of little girls
word
having
reforms.
babies goes deep in our history,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just now getting to a point where we're more informed, we're more educated. We know that this teen parent thing is not okay, right? We know this is unhealthy for the child having the child, and this is unhealthy for the child who is produced by the child.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people are saying that a lot less people are having children now, and they're debating whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And a lot of people, like, I have at least 20 cousins I can name that are about to be in their 30s, and none of them have children yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of us realize that these kids, it's like, it feel like one child is $1 million.
Yeah, now it is.
Like, dang.
It don't
Like,
feel
you know what I'm
like
saying?
it.
The
Yeah.
daycare is crazy.
It is.
The uniforms, the tuitions, if you want them to be in camps, even camps are taxed. And I'm like, yo, what's this?
And I can believe that the
Yo.
rate has came down, because look at our society today.
Yeah.
Now in schools, it wasn't like when we was in school. Now they just publicizing stuff that it's okay for you to be with the same sex, so that stopped reproduction right there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then you have trafficking.
Mhm.
You have all this trafficking and stuff. So times has changed, you
Yeah.
know. And it's just, actually, I don't believe right now is a good time to even bring a child in this world, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it 100. We want to talk facts and be real. Just right now and this time, for everybody that's listening, if you're not ready and prepared to have children, do what you need to do to make sure. Don't put it on one person. If you adamant about not having a child, do your part. Don't put it on that man. Don't put it on that woman.
Yes.
Do your part as that
Accountability.
man, or do your part as that woman to make sure I'm not ready for kids. I'm not going to have kids. Because at the end of the day, especially on the woman, you the one who have to carry that child and birth that child. And if you know that's not the right man, just don't open the door to get pregnant by that man. Because a man can easily walk away. I'm just keeping it 100. A man can easily walk away, but at the end of the day, you still stuck with that child. A mother just can't unless you're giving the baby up, you know.
It's harder for a mother to just
Right.
up and leave versus fall. I do
Yeah.
understand that. And that's why I understand, like, although I don't fully agree with it, I do understand why people are stricter with the girls on being responsible than they are with the boys. I'm just saying that if we could hold our boys just a little bit more responsible and accountable for their actions, that could help go a long way. But I get it, because the girls can't just be like, oh, there's a baby, let me get up and leave.
Yeah.
The baby coming with you. He's in your stomach, or she's in your stomach. So it's hard for you to,
Yeah.
so I get it.
Mhm.
But let's just, we got to work on these kids, period. and we got to inform these kids, and we got to show these kids what this life looks like so that they're less likely to do it. Now, some of them are going to see all that, and they still going to be like, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But you learn your lesson because ain't nobody helping you raise that baby.
And I
It's a work.
I think why they hard on the girls because
Yeah.
mama going to have to end up taking care of that child.
Yeah.
That's why I think we are hard on girls because I couldn't understand when my parents were hard on me. My brothers can do anything. I'm the oldest, but why I have to be in at a certain time? Why this and that? Because at the end of the day, when I did have my first child, I was in school. My parents stepped in and helped me. So I think with the female, it's more responsibility when the male can just walk away with the female can't.
Yeah.
So that's when you have the mother or the grandmother have to step in and help. So I think that's why they more hard on the females.
Yeah. Because those are the kids that come to the house. Your son's kids, they don't necessarily come to the house because they're at their mama's house. Which is kind of messed up in a way because as a grandparent, you probably going to have a better relationship with your daughter's kids than your son's kids because you see them more. I mean, they're the ones that are at your house. So, but I get your point for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a crazy world that we live in.
Yes,
Things
it
have
is.
changed.
Yes, they have.
Definitely.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Just as a whole, look, just talk to your kids.
Talk to your
no
kids.
matter what age they are, even if you don't think they listening, trust me, they listen.
Yeah.
And as they get older,
Yep.
Yeah,
you'll be glad you did.
Especially a 16-year-old being on child support. He can't even take care of himself.
At all.
You
That's
see?
crazy. Now, there should be an age limit. Like, you can't put somebody on child support today, 20, 24, something. Because
We
that's
wish.
crazy.
We wish.
Nah, come on.
Well, I'm going to tell y'all something that's really crazy that's going to blow your mind. I'm not talking about child support just to be talking about it. I talk about child support because I'm on the other end of it. Okay? I was in college and I had to go away to do my internship. And so my oldest son got sick one day and my mama called me, I need you to come home because I can't get anything done because they saying I'm not the legal guardian. So I had to come home, do a paper so my mama can get him to go to the doctor and stuff without me being there because she couldn't do anything. So y'all know about them AFDC checks and stuff, right? Back in the day. Do y'all know anything about that? Y'all probably don't, but it's called AFDC checks. It's something about something. But me being away from college, I was sending my parents money. I was still taking care of my son. I was just doing everything. I just wasn't physically there. So, my mom went down there and got this AFDC stuff and Medicaid or whatever. And so she had to sign a form. And then when you got grandparents who are uneducated with the system can also play on them. Yep. So they was like, okay, we need to know who the parents are. So she gave them my name and, their father name. Yeah. She didn't think no more of it. So here I'm graduating. Next thing I know, I get something in the mail saying I have to pay the state back.
Wow.
State back for what? From this money that she got. So y'all, it was $56,000 I owe to the state.
Wow.
Okay?
To the state?
Hold up. Check this out. $56,000 I owe to the state. The father get locked up. He gets out. He filed bankruptcy. Okay? He filed bankruptcy. So I jumped from like 18,000 to 40-some thousand. They gonna try to tell me that I didn't take his part. I did something because how did I have 18,000 left and jumped up to 40-some thousand when he filed bankruptcy? So what happened? So y'all, I'm still paying arrears to the state. I got locked up 4 months ago. So do I hate the system when it comes down to child support? I do. I had a caseworker who told me I had to pay this amount of dollars. I paid it. Then I paid an extra amount. I'm only $1,400 left, and I'm finna knock that out this year. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. So this caseworker tells me when I call her, I'm like, listen, I'm not physically working, so I've been paying. Where do I stand now? She tells me what to pay. Now remind you, when I call her, it say we being recorded. So I listen to stuff, and anything I do with the system, I write it down, the time, the date, everything. This female tells me how much I have to pay. I did everything. I get a knock on my door the next week. It's the sheriff. And they asked for me. And he was like, we got a warrant for your arrest. So I'm saying, who punking me? Who punking me? You know what I'm saying? Who punking me? And so he was like, no, we got to take you right now. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? So I called child support. Couldn't get in touch. This was last year. I got arrested. Couldn't get in touch with my caseworker. Her caseworker wasn't available. $415. The man was like, do you have $1,000? Now, what if I wouldn't have had $1,000 on hand? Do you have $1,000? He said, if you can pay this $1,000, it's on a Friday. If you can pay this $1,000, you won't be locked up for that week. Now, here y'all come in my neighborhood, so my feelings, I'm all broke up because people in my neighborhood seeing me get arrested. You know what I'm saying? So my emotions are just torn up. Call my husband. I'm finna go to jail. First, they kept calling him, and he wouldn't answer. I had to call. I'm like, listen, that's the sheriff calling you. They're trying to tell you what you need to do. So they was like, if you can bring $1,000 down right now, she won't spend the weekend in jail. Okay? Greensboro done sent this form to the sheriff department. This nobody lives in Greensboro, and y'all can't find him. Okay? So by this time, I'm pissed off. So I told my husband, I got it on me right now. I got it. He said, you got it? I said, yeah. I said, but I need you to come get it and pay. And the sheriff was like, no, if you got it, we can take you. This man knew who I was. This man was in there crying. He said, Miss Davenport, I know who you are. He said, I do not want to take you. I know who you are. He know I'm with Smiley Sweets. He know I'm up here helping the community and everything. So he calls. He said, listen, can I bring her to the back? Because I don't want people to see her. They said, no, you got to bring her to the front. I'm handcuffed, going through the place downtown, packed. Packed. Yeah. So I'm crying. I'm so upset. I'm just torn up. So I paid my $1,000. They didn't give me a receipt. They said that Greensboro would have it. I need to call them. Call Greensboro. They didn't have no recollection of none. So they had me a court date. He set me a court date for that Tuesday. This happened Friday. Went to court. They said I ain't paid nothing. Had to come back to Winston and come down there. I said, I need a receipt. The lady said, oh, you can't pay for Greensboro. I said, ma'am, I'm really going to jail. If you gonna tell me I didn't pay y'all $1,000 when I know I did. No, we can't take no payments from Greensboro. You did not do that here. You could not have. I said, ma'am, I'm telling you right now. And then I seen the lady. I said, hold up. That's the lady right now that I paid the money to. And she said, oh, yeah, I know who you are. And I said, this woman telling me that I can't pay for Greensboro. She said, yes. She said, oh, I didn't know that. I said, well, you don't need to talk on something you don't know. Right now, I was livid. I was livid. So they give me the receipt that I paid $1,000. Had to go back to court that Friday. Here I'm going, running up and down the highway using my gas. Get to court. My caseworker done quit.
Wow.
Because she knew she got caught up in a lie. She done quit. She done quit. So I can't imagine what men go through. I went through that as a woman. She done quit. I'm in the courtroom here for the first time. They didn't even know she quit. When they went to go look for her, she done cleaned out her office and everything. She done quit because I told them, y'all better roll back that recording that y'all did because I know what she told me. And she told me all I had to do was pay this money and I did not have to go to court. She said, if you pay this amount, you ain't got to go to court. I'm just going to withdraw it. I paid the money, so they got me for attempt to court by not showing up in court because this is what this caseworker told me I didn't have to do. The sheriff from Winston said, don't you ever believe them? We have came to so many people's houses the same as you, where these people tell you don't have to go to court. He said, go to court even time they tell you not to go. So the judge said, do you want your $1,000? I said, no, keep it. Because that's going to my arrears because I'm about done with this. And they let me know I only had this amount left. I've been paying every week. I'm paying $100 on it. So man, I know what you're going through. Oh. How the system will lie on you. And by you being the person that's paying, they gonna side with the people that's telling you these lies. If I didn't have that recording, if I didn't have proof, if I didn't write my stuff down, if I didn't have that sheriff to back me up, they would have had me for contempt of court. I would have got locked up because over a lie that she told, then she quit. So when I say I don't like child support, I don't like it in no way, form, or fashion because I'm not the one who wasn't taking care of my child. My mother got caught up. She didn't know what she was signing. And so when the judge said, well, you can stop paying it. Your mom can pay it. I ain't finna put this on my mama because I know my mama can't pay y'all. When I first found out I had to pay $50,000, I said, my mama can't pay that. I'm not even finna put her through that because that's the only way it would have got off me if my parents paid it back. So I've been paying for this My oldest son is 30-some years old, and I've been paying for this. He's 30-some years old, and I'm still paying arrears back for the state. You can't drop it. You can't do nothing. You got to pay that state back.
The dad ain't paying a dime.
He ain't paying jack, and I'm trying to tell them, y'all put his stuff on me.
Wow. That's all because
and they keep saying, this man, I had $18,000 left, and it jumped to 40-some thousand because he filed bankruptcy. What happened?
That's crazy.
So that's why I say about making somebody.
Yeah,
he's so sorry that he filed bankruptcy,
to get out,
but wouldn't give up his rights.
That's crazy.
So you see why I feel the way I do. I wasn't going to share this. So I said, no, I need to share this story, the reason why I feel the way I do.
Yeah.
Damn if you do, damn if you don't. Asking somebody to give up their rights is not a bad thing. But when they lessen the man filed bankruptcy when he didn't want to give up his rights to put all that on you, come on now.
Yeah, that's wild.
Come on.
Woo, it's some sorry dudes out here.
Come on now.
Unfortunately, loopholes like that should not exist.
Ooh,
it really should.
Yeah,
it really should.
That's crazy.
So as a woman, that tore me up. So as a man, I can't imagine what y'all go through.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. That's why I have come to y'all defense. Not because I'm like, oh, she's something. No, because I have experienced it. I know what the system does, and I'm a woman. So if they don't care about me being a woman, I can't imagine what they do for these good men who out here who's trying. They ain't care about me. They ain't care. That woman lied. She left me hanging. Quit. Knowing she lied on me. And you can't sue. You can't get them for embarrassment. You can't do nothing. They are right. No matter what they do wrong, they are right. Excuse me. They are right. So yeah, it's a touchy situation for me when it comes down to child support.
Did y'all enjoy the show?
Ooh, it got deep, didn't it?
Yeah.
Real deep.
All right, well, that was an interesting episode. Make sure y'all tune in for more episodes like this. It gets heated in here sometimes. So
real life stories.
Real life stories, real life situations.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Always.
All right.
All right.
Until next time.
I think it's time for that drink.
Hey, don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button.
Like and subscribe.
The Juicy Corner Show. Let's talk about it. Y'all subscribe because we'll be giving giveaways to our subscribers throughout the year.
Yes.
So make sure y'all hit that subscribe button and see us next time so we can talk about it.